Hi guys, welcome to Motivational Monday. How you guys doing today? Hope you're good. I hope you had a great week. Let's wait a while, let the light build up a bit. One person. Yeah. Hi Terrian. That is now on video. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Welcome guys. Today's topic will be addiction. We're going to talk about. I have a special guest. Bernadette is going to join me and we're going to have a little discussion. All right. Just waiting for Bernadette to be added on. Yes. T, how are you doing? Okay, I'll just read a short while we wait on Bernadette. Dear God, this is the day that you have made, and I'm so grateful to be a part of it. This is a day unlike any other day, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to begin again. This is the day that I will place myself totally in your care. This is the day that I will use to serve you in faith and joy. This is the day all of my spiritual and karma debts are cancelled, and I'm so grateful to be free. On this day, I now declare that I am free of fear, free of doubt, free of anger, free of shame, free of guilt, free of unproductive thoughts and action. On this glorious day that you have allowed me to see, I will divinely, determinedly, and dutifully dedicated to live the life you have created for me. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, guys. So, we're going to talk a bit today about addiction. Now, addiction come in many forms, as we know. And I just wanted to touch on it. I think, it's a good topic to speak on. We have many addictions, and many people suffer from different type of addictions, not only alcohol or drugs or sexual and stuff like that. So we're going to touch a bit today, and we're going to, talk about it, talk about how it's affecting us, and you know, how it will be, right? So I want to read a little bit on it. Let me get my notes. So we have all different types of addiction, as we know, but a lot of you know the main ones: drug addiction, substance abuse, and there could be many types of it, right? What are you guys addicted to today? We have addiction could come in all different forms, as we know, right? What are you addicted to? Dane? Hi, Dane. General signs of addiction are lack of control or inability to stay away from a substance or behavior, decreased socialization, like abandoning commitments or ignoring relationships, ignoring risk factors like sharing needles despite potential consequences. So, you know, people with emotional addiction can become dependent on a certain emotion from comfort, relief, distraction, or escape. The emotion grow into obsession, a compulsion, and addiction. Those who develop an emotional addiction might feel as if they live at the mercy of their feelings, right? How do you know if you are addicted to gaming? Needing to spend more and more time playing to feel good, not being able to quit or even play less, not wanting to do other things that you used to like, having problems at work, school, or home because of your gaming. So, you know, you have a lot of people now that play games. That is a type of addiction, right? We have people who have a mental disorder. Like video game addiction is a mental health disorder, a pattern or persistent of recurrent gaming behavior so severe it take precedence over other life interests. And you know, we could relate to people who like stay home. I know since we are in lockdown, a lot of people now are addicted to gaming. They don't have any kind of socialization outside because they're in the house. That's a type of addiction. We have people who, you know, drink on a constant basis. That is addiction. We have some people addicted to sex. And, you know, we have people who are addicted to their phones. And, you know, it's like they can't do without their phones. They don't even know a phone number without their phone, right? They don't know anything, you know, they can't remember any numbers. That's an addiction. What can you do without within 24 days? What can you do about it? Coffee is an addiction. It have some people cannot do without coffee. If they don't drink coffee, they can't function. It have people who smoke. You know, some people smoke a pack of cigarette a day. That's an addiction. You have some people now who are health conscious, and you find when they now healthy and say is your partner, you might want, let's say, what, you're addicted to your bed, then you're addicted to your bed. Yes, that could be an addiction too, especially if you're there and you don't get up from it. But you also have the health freaks who working out, who weighing all the food. You might want to eat something that is not healthy. They will be like, no, that is not good for you to eat. So that is an addiction. And they want to share that addiction with you. So they addicted to eating. They're addicted to working out. Some people go to the gym and they want you to do that too. So that's a type of addiction also. Then you have some people now who is holier than God, and they're going to church and they want to convert you. You're playing mass every year and they find you shouldn't play mass because it's not of God. But when they were playing, it was good. But when they get saved now, it ain't good. So that is an addiction. You understand? You're addicted to jelly beans, only the white ones. Okay. Oh, Joan, yes, yeah, you're addicted to jelly beans. Well, that's good. Good evening, everybody. Yes, Afia, happy Monday, Afia. But you know, people don't look at addiction like if it's something, they think it only drugs or alcohol or, you know, but there are a lot of addictions. And then people now don't realize what it is and how the behavior is towards other people, right? So you know, we gotta be aware of it. We gotta be aware of it. You understand? So, you know, again, everybody, we all have an addiction. I was thinking about what am I addicted to? And I said to myself, you know what? I'm addicted to tea because every day I have to have my cup of tea. No matter what time I get up, I have to have a cup of tea. You could be addicted to work as well. Yes, we have those people who work, and don't study family. And family is important. I mean, yes, they have 2 jobs, 3 jobs. They come home, they just, you know, they don't have any time for anything. So they're addicted to that also. So, you know, there's a lot of different types of addiction. So addiction though really mean that it's just the broad ones what we see, especially in the day-to-day living that we are living in today. You know, so I was telling myself, you know, what can I do without? And I mean, I could do without my phone, but that cup of tea, I need it. You know, what am I addicted to again? I could sleep and sleep and sleep, and there's no problem. Yes, we have the workaholics. For real, Dane, we have the workaholics. But what are your addiction, Terian? What can you do within, what you can't do without within 24 hours? Afia, Dane, let me hear some of the things that you can't do without, you know? Yeah, you know, so, yeah, so, you know, tell me some of your addictions. Want to do it on WhatsApp? That's how we do that. Okay. Social media, you're addicted to that? Oh, so 24 hours you can't do without Instagram and Facebook. That's what you're saying? Yeah. Well, that is good because a lot of people addicted to the phone. You know, sometimes like you go out, when I used to go out and you see these people 3 o'clock in the morning watching your phone, 2 o'clock. Who calling you 2 and 3 in the morning? I guess they just, you know, I love to work out, but I wouldn't say I addicted to it as much as jelly beans. I keep it out the house. Okay. A glass of wine. Yeah. Yes, Bernadette. Yeah. I have slacked off from social media. Okay, that's good then. Because you know, social media now, people can't do without it now. It's a struggle, Terian, really. So you can't do without going on the gram or Facebook within 24 hours. That's hard for you to do. Like a cleanse. Yes. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, so you know, we have different types of addiction. So you know, I sometimes, you know, you have to challenge yourself because it's just like any other habit, you know, and you know it takes 30 days to form a habit. So the same way that it takes 30 days to form it, I would look at it like you could stay away from it too, you know. So um I'm like, you know, it's tough for a lot of people. It's really, really tough. But you know, we have to, I keep up with my family that way. I be trying, but end up back on there. Well, yeah, no problem with reaching out to your family members on it. You know, we just talking about some people addicted to it and they can't do without it. And the phone, even if you're going to grocery, people with the phone, even if you go shopping, they have this phone in the hand. They could never put the phone in the bag or the purse, you know. And then sometime now they rest it down, they forget where they rest it down, yeah, you know, and they don't know. So I think a lot of people addicted to phone now. Hello, Vicky. Hello. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, our topic today is addiction. Vicky, what are you addicted to? What can you do without within 24 hours of the day? Let me know. That's what our discussion is this afternoon. Um, the things that we can keep away from, and just see if we not. Probably you could try it too and see if it's something that you could do and stay away from. We could try and see. But I could do without tea, drinking tea also. But I think that's my addiction. I don't snack. I don't overeat. So I was really searching myself to see what am I addicted to, because sometimes little things that we think. And I'm addicted to constant washing hands, especially since COVID. It gets worse. My poor soap. My poor soap. Stop caring too much. Yes, definitely social media. Yes, we have. Addicted to the gym. Yeah, then Vicky just reach in from the gym. They didn't say addicted to the gym, but we know you work out a lot, eh? But that can be an addiction too. That can be addiction too. You understand? So, um, yeah. So yeah, that could be an addiction too. So we just have to be conscious of what it is we doing with our daily lives, or with things that we can't do without. So I would say yes, it is. So we talk about gaming. 6 signs that you are addicted to something. Let's see what they're saying here. What are the signs that we can look forward to? There's nothing psychological about having fun and feeling enjoyment. We were created with these feelings at this potential. Engaging in a pleasurable activity is not inherently wrong, but the line between activity and addiction lies where an activity that is positive or natural takes a deadly negative turn, where it's watching Netflix, social media, going to the gym, eating healthy, eating junk food, having sex, or playing video game. Each of these activities have a line that cross into negative territory. With addictive behaviors that do not involve chemical substance, there are a series of conditions you can use to determine severely. Importance. How important has it become to your sense of self and the way you live your life? You can determine importance not only by how much you are doing it, but also by how much you are doing other things. Priority equals important. Reward responses. Does doing it makes you feel better, more in control? Does not go doing it makes you feel worse? Doing things you enjoy makes you feel better. Avoiding things you dislike can make you feel better, at least initially. There is a positive physical payoff to all this activity that can obscure the negative consequence. Do you find yourself doing it more often or longer periods of time than you originally planned? There is a never ending compulsion if you feel compelled to say just a little bit more. All the time you are craving out more and more space in your life for these activities. The question becomes, in order to crave out this time, to what else are you taking the knife? Do you feel anxious or uncomfortable if you cannot do it, or you just think about doing it? One way to gauge how important these things have become to you is to consider doing without them. Your initial emotional and physical response can be highly instructive. The higher the level of panic and pain you anticipate, the stronger the hold they have on you. Has doing it destructive your life and your relationship? Imagine your life as a drawer full of those old school hanging folders. The drawer only has so much space for files. Every time you add a file called texting or Facebook or checking in or video games, you have to push folders around to find room in the drawer. Inside that drawer are already files called sleep, family, chores, and work. Some of the files in your drawer aren't fun. They are thick and heavy and take up a lot of space. The more new stuff you are trying to pack into the drawer of your life, the more pressure it puts on the thing and people already there. So again, um, all of these sign points to a much bigger problem, addiction. Addiction is a behavior. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get on the phone with my friend Bernadette. We're trying to connect her here on live, and it's giving us some problem. So I'll just bring her on and have her on speakerphone talking more about it.
Call on WhatsApp.
Yeah. Oh, okay, call on WhatsApp too. Okay, hold on a second, guys. I'm going to get on WhatsApp and get on video. I don't know why it's not connecting. We've been trying. Hi, Bernadette.
Hey, how are you?
Good. I'm gonna do it via WhatsApp because I don't know what's up with the connection.
I know. I've been trying. It's telling me to rotate the phone, and I'm doing it, and it's still not,
Yeah. All right.
nothing happening.
All right, no problem. So I have you on here, and we're gonna talk a little. I was just talking a little bit about addiction. You can introduce yourself, and we can have a little discussion. So go ahead.
Okay, I'm Bernadette Lamy. I have an agency for persons with disabilities, and I'm here to be part of what you guys are talking about. I've been listening to you for a couple of weeks now, and I like what you're doing. So
Thank you.
let's get into it. Yeah.
Yes. So
Very good.
So tell us a bit about what you do and stuff.
Well, basically, I deal with individuals with disabilities and provide services to them. And we also deal with, you know, small amounts of addiction, basically medication addictions and marijuana addictions, but that's about it. Not too much into that.
Right.
More, yeah.
So how do you assist? How do you assist them, or what type of service that you provide for them?
Well, basically to identify what they have and try to match them with a group or an agency that would help them. For example, because they said addiction is an urge to do something that is hard to control or stop.
Right.
It could be cigarette, alcohol, drugs, marijuana, cocaine, heroin, and again, you talk about the cell phone, you talk about the social media and all that good stuff. But we more deal with addictions as far as alcohol and drugs and whatever. So we talk about the different stages of addiction. You have the experimentation, where very few people set out to become addicted. And you have, and I could tell you about individuals who, I could tell you an example of a friend of mine who was here earlier.
Yes.
And I said, they said, people can't change. And I said, and I was telling them, I said, people cannot change, but, you're a living example that people could change. Because, and he explained it to, he said, when he started out, it was an experiment. And, then he got to where the second stage was regular use and abuse.
Right.
In this stage, the road towards addiction or something that was once considered, recreational or temporary becomes a lifestyle.
Wow.
Then you go to dependency and tolerance. Then you get to addiction, and then the last stage is, you get to detox, where it's treatment or recovery. And me and him were talking about it earlier, and he said, me. I said, man, I could testify about where you went and where you are right now. And and I would love, I should have, oh man, it could have got him on.
Yeah.
He would be able to, Yeah.
That would be a good example for people.
Oh man. Oh man. You know what? Let me see if I could call him, and you could call him on on WhatsApp and
Yeah.
get him on.
Yes.
It'll be a great person for you to talk to, because
Yes.
he's been there, and he right now, that's what he is doing also, as far as
Helping.
helping others, and he could tell you the different stages that they've been going through. You know, because I'm more on the like the administrative side, but he's more the hands-on side with it.
Right.
So let me just give me 2 minutes. Let me call him, and I could have you call him on WhatsApp, and
Okay.
you know, you could get him, and you'll love it. It's great.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Right. Okay, so let me call him right now.
Okay, cool. All right.
And I'll have him call you on WhatsApp.
Okay, Bernadette, no problem.
Or you have to call. Or you have to call.
Yeah, just send me the number, add him, and then we'll call him.
Okay, good.
All right, thank you. Yes, guys. So here you have it. We are going to get some one of Bernadette's. Bernadette takes, she, as she said, she's the administrative part of it, but we're going to speak to someone who was addicted to those type of things and are changing lives by doing the work now to help others. So there is hope out there for people that are addicted. There's hope out there for anybody that is trying to change. Again, it's habits, and habits are easy to pick up, and habits are hard to break down in the sense that, some people just want to stick in the bad habits and they don't want to curtail from it or to change. They know they're sick. They know if they smoke, you might get cancer, you might get lung cancer. They know the effects of it. If you drink too much, you might suffer with liver. It have different effects to the body, different harm. Too much of anything is no good. But then you have people who still engage in doing stuff like this, hampering themselves, and then they find themselves when the doctor now diagnose them with something, it's too late, because guess what? They just fail to do the right thing, right? So, as we heard just now, addiction, again, it could be on all different levels. It could be from small to build up to the extreme. And then you have these people now who, as she said, try cocaine or meth or marijuana, and they go to the extreme. Some of them can't do without it. Some of them go crazy. Some of them end up in the mental institution because it doesn't work for them. I mean, I can talk for my niece. I know the other day she told me one of her friends was doing these gummy bears, and she tried it. And when she tried it, because it was a gummy bear, but it was one of those treats that they sell, and she feel like she was going crazy. She started to hallucinate. She started to feel so terrible. She didn't even know herself. So drugs is not for everyone. Addiction is not for everyone. And it's not, you have to be around the right crowd, because no good friend will invite you to do something that you shouldn't do. You understand? So that is, but you find that normally with younger people. Older people tends to not be around that type of crowd when you want to do better, or you want to, especially like if you have drugs like me. I get drug tested. I get drug tested randomly. I have to puff and I have to use the toilet, and I can't flush the toilet. Delta calls you anytime for a drug test because of the type of work that I do. My job is air traffic control, and they call us randomly. So now they're legalizing marijuana and different stuff. So I don't know how is that going to work, but I know from my company and the type of job that I'm in, they do it for me. Some other jobs now don't do it, but then you gotta be careful too, because you don't want to keep going to work high and then get fired. You don't want to be smoking weed. Weed is something that relax you, I heard, and you think, Joanne, yeah, um, people get drug tested, especially when you have a prestigious job. When you have an important job, you cannot be smoking. You drink on occasion, right? Moderation. But you have some people who overdo it. They become alcoholics that they have to drink in order to function, right? Shut up. Yeah, you have to drink in order to function right, of how to go about your day. They can't take the pressures of life cause people to do stuff and to be that way, so again, it's a habit, and we can break the habit, you know. So I know too a lot of people who have issues growing up. I know marriages, some people married to people that they don't like, and they're just in the marriage, that could drive you to drink or smoke. Sometimes your job, sometimes the pressures of your job, especially customer service, especially the way how some people want to talk to you, that could drive you to drink or smoke. On my job, I'd be like, puff, puff, pass, jokingly. But, addiction is, it's serious. It's really serious. And, you know, we all have to just, you know, um, take care of ourselves and our body. And, again, habits. I don't know. I never see myself as a smoker. I'm a drinker occasionally because Monday to Friday I don't drink really. I'm not working, so I can take a little sip or something. But the way how I program myself is that Mondays to Friday I don't really drink. On a weekend, yeah, but during the week I don't, because I don't want to be tired and I need to get up and I need to function and go to work and different things like that. But it's just like staying home for these past few months, experiencing how it is to be home, not doing anything. I cannot be a homemaker who want to stay home and sleep and watch TV all day. That ain't working in my vocabulary. For some people, they like that. But for me, mm-mm, no. I rather go out there and and interact and have myself together. But everybody is different, right? But Joanne, as you say that different jobs have different requirements, and what I normally try to tell young people is that if you want a good job, you gotta stop smoking weed, because you're going to be drug tested. And even if you're being drug tested, or whether you're cleaning out yourself or whatever to get the job, you get called on random. So what you'll do, lose your job, so you have to know what's important in life. And especially for young people, um, they don't take life as serious as we adults do. They have to go through the motions and, burn to learn. They think is the new in thing. I mean, tobacco is bad, but now the young people are into vaping. My son is a vapor, and they vape, young people. But that's still not good for you. You understand? But, when you make your kids, they do what they have to. They go through the life circles, but I know that addiction is real, and we have to discuss it because we all are addicted to something, you know, and um, and if you if you 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 know yeah, so addiction is thing, but it have people who could change. It have people who could come out of that 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 barrel they're in, if they want a better life and to get themselves. I know too a lot of young people who are in prisons never had the right direction, and they get themselves caught up in different stuff, and then they have to pay the consequences by going to jail and coming out and going to rehab and being better people. Okay. No video. No video. Hi.
Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, Anthony. My name is Phyllis Green.
And
Andy. Andy, yes. And I have My topic today, I do a motivational Monday, and my
Mm,
topic today is on addiction. And I was speaking to Bernadette, and she told me you will be a good person to, come on and talk about your situation or give advices or whatever. So you can introduce yourself. I'm on Facebook Live, but they can hear you. Go ahead.
okay, so my name is Andy Ansola. Originally from Trinidad and Tobago, as you can tell by my accent, I guess.
Yes.
Um, I am currently working in the addiction field. I've been doing it for like 21 years,
Nice.
and I have a vast array of experiences. In all areas of it. I do constantly research, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of research. I work with right now. I mostly work with people mostly struggling with drugs, but I also deal sometimes with people dealing with food addiction,
Right.
sex addiction, and shopping addiction, internet addiction.
Yes.
you know, so the addiction is rampant right now in this country, especially
Yes. Yes. It's on
with,
the rise.
especially with COVID and people being quarantined, and so they're doing things that they normally wouldn't do, and that then makes it an addiction because
Yes.
they sort of like they can't live without it.
Correct. So, what are your experience on it? Have you experienced it personally?
Ah, that's the $1 million question. Yes, I have.
Okay.
Uh, which I don't, I would prefer not to share on Facebook.
Okay.
Not that I'm ashamed or anything, but uh,
But
yes,
what? Okay. So, what advice? What advice can you give somebody who is out there struggling?
okay, well, I just did an interview for a company, and the advice, because I work a lot with veterans and
Right.
the homeless.
Right.
And the advice that I gave to the lady who was doing the article was that ask for help.
Ah.
So a lot of addicts normally they tend not to ask for help,
Yes.
and it's based on the genetics, on the gender. So a lot of men, we were talking about that today in group,
Right.
that based on your culture, a lot of cultures. I had a guy from India I was talking to today, where they grew up, where they're dominated by their fathers, present saying, "Man up, men don't cry," and all that good stuff.
Right.
So they grew up with that, and that now has translated into the addiction, where they they had situations where they had the opportunity to actually cry and shed tears, which are very therapeutic. By the way, I did an extensive study on that.
Nice.
So they do not cry, and they have all this stuff built up in them. So to deal with the pain that they did not cry for, they turn to drugs to deal with that pain.
So
And
why I think is that like for men, I think men don't really like to open up like that, especially about problems like that. But they don't like to
well, I think
talk.
it, it has a lot to do with culture, a lot to do with culture. So, for example, in the 21 years of me doing this, I could tell you how many West Indians or island people
Yeah.
that I have seen in therapy. It's also predominant in the what we call the inner city, in the hood, where I do
Yeah.
a lot of extensive work, because that's the culture they grew up in. Um, so me personally, I never believed in counseling,
Right.
or I'm a retired police officer in Trinidad and Tobago,
Okay.
and I never believed in counseling. Before I got into the field, I was like, I ain't going to tell nobody my problems. That's not how I was brought up.
What changed your
And
mind?
what changed my mind was when I saw it working, when I actually, so I ended up with a master's in marriage and family therapy while I was waiting to make up time to go to law school.
Okay.
And as I got it, I started to get involved in it. And then I realized that it was actually working. I saw it healing people where, at first I thought this was crazy. How could people do this? You're going to tell a stranger all your business and all that crazy stuff. Again,
Yes.
island mentality. That's how we grew up.
Correct.
But as I continued in the field, I realized, wow, this is working. I'm successfully work with clients who are clean now, who
Very
have
good.
been able to address their issues. And part of what I do is I lead people to Christ, because I also do a ministry out of it.
Right. Okay. So I'll tell you your rate, how successful your rate is with letting people turn a leaf. Like one
Oh,
out of 10, how much you think you know?
well, I was going to give you, I know I'm in the high 90s%, but I know I am. I am. I actually am. I've had people who would actually come back and say, wow, Mr. Andy, you saved my life. You turned my life around. I have kids who, when I work in the school system,
Right.
who, when I got them, the teacher said they would not even make it to high school.
Wow.
And some of these kids even made it to the NBA, but I can't mention their names based
Correct.
on,
Yes.
right? So my success rate, I would say, is very high, and I'm determined. I do not give up. From my end, I don't give up. I don't judge. I'm not judgmental because I've experienced addictions personally,
Mm-hmm.
and based on that, I kind of like. That's why I like my field because my degrees on everything is good, but my personal experiences is what drives the discourse.
So, Andy, like in the school system, as you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned, what rate do you see young people being addicted? Like what addiction they have? Like
Well,
example.
most of the schools I work with is in the hood, in the city.
Right.
So the addiction would they would start with marijuana
Okay.
because that's the norm, which is the gateway drug. And now it's gotten worse now because this medical marijuana, which works for those who actually need it, but
Right.
it's being abused. So marijuana becomes the gateway drug, peer pressure.
Hmm.
You know, I
Yes.
started smoking marijuana off of peer pressure because my father was a cop, my grandfather was a cop, and I knew, hey, this marijuana stuff, I've heard all the war stories.
Right.
But my friend kept insisting, and I felt the peer pressure, and
Wow.
that led me down a track that
Wow.
a lot of stories.
Yes. Well, Andy, I think you're doing a fantastic job helping people. And especially with I find like when people have a problem, they
Mm,
and as you say, Caribbean people, our people, Trinidadians, they don't
mm.
really like to talk about the problem, you know.
Correct. That's how we
And
were brought up.
yeah,
That's how we were
that's how
brought
we
up.
are brought up. And you are right there where you talk about counseling. A lot of people look at counseling in a negative way. And whereas
Correct.
sometimes I think if you go and you speak to someone, especially if you have unresolved issues as a young person, that
Mm-hmm.
person could probably help you bring those feelings out and you tend to feel better about yourself.
And that's the starting point for all addictions where there's unresolved issues where they're not dealt with, they're swept under the rug or not even talked about or forgotten child abuse,
Mm-hmm.
anger, resentment, all of those stuff, finance, and all of that stuff. So the unresolved issues is the result of that's what makes them go into because as I was telling them today, it's the drug is a deceiver, right? It deceives you and makes you feel that you're gonna get all of this stuff. So what
Right.
I actually do is I say, it deceives you. So everything that the addiction promises you, recovery gives it to you,
Right.
right? So as you speak, I was just working. My specialty is grief and loss. So
Mm-hmm.
I was just working on my book when Bernadette called actually.
Or
I'm
you're
working on a
writing
book.
you're writing a book.
Yeah, I'm writing a book to deal with. I just changed the title. I've been changing the title forever. So it's called Vowel Therapy, Self-Help and Helping Others Heal with
Right.
Grief and Loss.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
And that's to deal with the pandemic and plus the other losses due to addiction because they lose, well, not lose. I tell them you don't lose anything, you give away stuff.
Right.
So anybody who wants any additional information can go to my website, which is www.heartsflow, HEARTSFLOW, one word, .org.
Yes.
And on that website, they can go and it starts off with a free session on any issue because I'm universal in all the topics I have experience in all those areas. So they can log on, book an appointment. The first appointment is free. And then if they can afford it, then we're going to talk about pricing for additional sessions because I will do an assessment and all of that stuff and say, okay, you're going to need 6 sessions, 5 sessions. I'm a family therapist by trade, but I deal with all areas in that social services field.
That is very good. So you could text me the website, and I'll put it up for anybody who really needs the help and wants to change the life, you know?
Right, because what's happened is that, you know, so so COVID has brought a change in the environment, and this is something I've been told since I was in grad school that that's where it's gonna be, and
Mm-hmm.
here it is upon me. So yeah, you go to the website, you log on, we talk about whatever you want to talk about the 45 minutes. If you want to pursue it, some people based on their finances cannot afford, because I do right now, I only do cash. I don't do insurances because of the all that falling below with the insurance.
Right,
Right?
right.
So some people cannot afford. I do 150 per session.
Oh, that's
Right?
not bad. I mean, if
So,
drinking
right.
beer is costing more, you know?
Right. I know some people charge more, but still that 150 sometimes can be an obstacle for
Right.
some people based on where we have some people lost their jobs. So I give you that free session, and I open your eyes. And also on the website, you can also go, if you can't afford sessions, I have myriad articles. I have blogs, especially dealing with addiction. They can go there and glean on it, you know, and get some insight without, if they can't afford it. So I have different type of tools, and I'm getting ready to upload some YouTube videos that I'll be making shortly with regards to all areas of addiction.
Great. But with the pandemic now, what addiction you think was an increase? I think social media. What do you think?
You know, social media has always been a problem. It's now being recognized. It has always been a problem. The abuse of it. So right now there's counseling for social media where people's whole lifestyle is as they wake up, that's what they do. They go
Yeah.
to bed, that's the last thing they do. They come out of a class,
Yeah.
so much of information, and it's so in my institution, no phones are allowed during clinical hours,
Okay.
because that's all they do. That's
Yeah.
all they do. So they come out of a class with a wealth of information. They jump on Facebook, and here's what happens: they see a post that somehow trigger them,
Yeah.
and now that messes up their entire day, it messes up their treatment.
Right.
But so social media has always been the problem, but there's an increase now in the narcotics, in the drugs areas,
Right.
because some people are now, so more people are checking in. At least from my organization, we have a lot. We thought the numbers was going to decrease when COVID started.
Right.
Our numbers just keep jumping. It's constant. And on the other end of the spectrum, some places are closing down because they're not getting clients.
Right.
But we are getting clients based on our success record.
Okay, that's very nice.
So I work with a company called Recovery First in South Florida.
Yes.
And based on that, our track record, I work a lot with vets extensively,
Yeah.
and I have a high success record. And, you know, I chase after clients. I would go and take a client out of a hotel who is using, and if once they need help, I will go above and beyond
Right.
to encourage them.
That's good. Because I know too, with the vet, because my son is a vet too, and mental illness is a something that, you know, is around and around with vets. And you know, I find sometimes that people tend to forget the vets, and they need that kind of counseling, you know.
So yes, so definitely, a lot of the vets is PTSD. I just had one
Yes.
a couple of days ago. A lot of PTSD with it. So all I teach them to do now is so addiction does not. There's no healing. For your listeners, there's no healing when it comes to addiction. It's a disease like any other disease, like cancer, like diabetes or anything. So
Right.
there's no healing.
However,
However, there is management. So what we do is we teach you to manage
right.
we give you skills to manage the addiction. So I have been clean for 14 years. So I tell my clients, for 14 years, I have managed to hold my addiction at bay by
Right.
following certain guidelines and principles.
Right. And do you want to share a little of those guidelines and principles? For example, like what? No drinking, no smoking, what?
Well, no. So today I did a class on people, places, and things.
Mm-hmm.
Those are some of the main triggers: people, places, and things. So sometimes people have to make a hard decision when it comes to people. So I was given an example. I had a client who, 20-something years, he's been struggling, a vet, he's been struggling with the addiction. He can't get rid of the drugs.
Right.
Okay. So pre-COVID, we used to have a weekend session where clients would fly in from all over the country or even local, and we would have a family weekend.
Right.
Because family is a very integral part of therapy.
Yes.
You know, and I say that as a family therapist. And so what it was discovered in that session, right there and then, that his girlfriend, well, let me back up. His father died and left a bunch of money plus a house.
Mm-hmm.
He was living with a girlfriend who had 2 kids, not his own, but they were young, and she was an enabler, and he was codependent.
Right.
So in that session, right there and then, not when we come back tomorrow or anything, right there and then a decision had to be made.
Right.
He was crying, she was crying, was a whole cry out stuff. But at the end of the day, the decision was made that they had to separate.
Right.
So he was sad for about a week, you know, understandably, but, you know, I kept encouraging him. You know, you made the right decision. You won't see the results now, but you would see it somewhere down the road.
Right.
So what he did, while he was in treatment, he applied to the University of Berkeley in California,
Mm-hmm.
and he got accepted. So when he left treatment, he flew straight to California.
Wow.
He completed his bachelor's. He's working on his master's.
Nice.
And he's been clean for 3 years now. And we communicate ever so often because all of them have my numbers that I can call. I have a special arrangement with my company. I'm grandfathered in where I can give out my personal number.
Nice.
To clients who needs help, so they can reach me any time of the day. If they contacted their sponsor and they can't get through,
Nice.
or their support group, they can call me. That's the privilege I give them.
Yeah.
So we look at people, places, and things. We look at what's your love language. You know, love languages play a big lot regards to relationship,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where's the places that you frequent? If you're an alcoholic, you have no reason to be in happy hour.
Right. Right.
What you doing in happy hour? Could you please explain?
Right.
You know, and the way how the drug works, you know, as the brain is rewiring, it takes about 2 years for them to get back to some form of decency, what you call a normal life. So they go through what they call PAWS, which is post-acute withdrawal syndrome.
Right.
And I teach them all of the signs because sometimes it makes them feel like they're doing the wrong thing, so they would rush back to the drugs. So we talk about PAWS. We talk about 4 agreements. That's another tool that we use. So we talk about change, you know, because I would let them know that they would normally say the drug is the problem, right? It's the alcohol,
Yeah.
the cocaine, right? So I would point out to them off the top, that was not the drug was not the problem. That was the solution.
Right.
The problem was you.
Right.
And let's deal with your problems that you're dealing with.
Right.
In a nutshell, it's a 3-pronged approach. You got to change your thinking, you got to change your attitude, you got to change your behavior all at once. You cannot change one and leave the rest undone because you're going to fall back into
The same habit.
the addiction. Yeah.
Right. So people, places, and things.
People, places, and things, 4 agreements, change. I do a change module. I do mindfulness. I do spirituality. I do faith. You know, all of these things we look at to see where the problem stems from.
Right.
So a lot of things. So one of the things I would tell them is, do you know the culture you grew up with might have been responsible for your addiction? And they're like, wow. And then we talk about it. I say, do you know that your birth order has a lot to do with your addiction? How? You know, if you're the first child,
Right.
if you're the second child, if you're the last child, if you're the only child, if you're a twin, all of that plays into it. And also, what event was taking place at the time that you were born? What era did you grow up in? So right now, we don't have any studies on COVID,
Right.
but we know these kids going to be affected somewhere down the line.
Wow.
All right? So we start to look futuristically into what we can start doing now for those kids who are born around COVID time because they come into a different world.
Yeah.
So it's important to know when you were born, what was shaped your life, and then why would you have resorted to this delinquent behavior?
Yeah.
Because I tell them it's childish. You know, I use a lot of scripture because Paul says in his word, when I was a child, I thought like a child, I acted like a child, I did childish things.
Yes.
But now I've grown up, I've put away childish things.
Behaviors.
And then they say, wow, yeah, they associate you acting like a child. And I use a bunch of tools because I've been doing it. I have a toolbox. I can just talk without a script.
Right.
I've been doing it for so long, as I'm doing here now.
Yes.
You know, I could just, because that's what I do. And I have a background in journalism also, which gives me an advantage.
Okay. Well, Andy, I think you're doing a terrific job. You keep reaching for the stars and changing life, because we all need people like you. We all need to hear things, because I myself was thinking, what am I addicted to? So because addiction now, long ago we used to only look at alcohol or smoking or sexual and different things. But now I realize that addiction is anything that you can't do without. So anything
that you idolize.
Yeah, but I like to drink tea, and a day can go with me drinking my cup of tea. So that's the only thing.
If you're abusing it, that's when it becomes a problem. When you abuse.
Well, I'm not abusing it, so I guess I'm not addicted to anything.
Right. So if you're using it moderately, yes. But when you can't do without it, then Houston, we have a problem.
Right.
I can't do without it. But if you're using it moderately, in whatever moderate means to you, because moderate will have different meanings to different people.
Correct.
And I want to add this before I go. Every month I feed and clothe the homeless. So I'm doing a drive we're doing it this Saturday.
Yeah.
Where I get clothes donated and we do food and clothes, and I work with a cleaner who gives me stuff that people haven't picked up.
Very good.
And my personal organization, I buy socks and underwear, which is their biggest need.
Yes.
So we go and we feed them. And I have the same addicts who are in treatment, who I help recover. They come and they help. So we give them haircuts and all of that nice stuff plus food and make them have a good day.
Nice. Well, I'm in New York right now. You're in Florida, right?
I am in Florida. It's the closest place to Trinidad.
I know. So when you do your drive, maybe I can fly over one weekend when you're doing it, and I can come and lend a hand.
It's once a month. I think it's on Facebook, so I'm going to send out my last reminder for donations.
Okay.
Some people do cash donations, some people do clothes.
Right.
I'm going to send out my last reminder about Wednesday.
Okay.
And then finally, Friday morning or Friday evening, a reminder. And it's normally a great turnout, where we pray for, and they ask for prayer also, so we pray for them. And we just do that thing that's supposed to be working.
Okay, great. So again, text me all your information so I could follow you now on Facebook and share your information, because each one teach one, I believe in. So in closing, what advice you have for my listeners?
Your listeners is, as I close with that last interview I had, don't be afraid to ask for help. That's the biggest barrier.
Right.
Ask for help. I repeat that constantly. Don't be afraid to ask for help, because people are willing to help you. And when you think it's you alone struggling with your issue,
yes,
then you realize, once you get into, if you're doing AA or NA or CA, if you're doing that, you would realize that you are not alone, and that helps a lot. That helps to bring you, if you're an introvert about your behavior, you become an extrovert eventually as you go to meetings and you do whatever you're supposed to do based on getting a response and all that good stuff.
Right. Okay. Great. Good. So this was good information. Thank you again, Andy. Thank you, Bernadette, for sharing your friend with us on our Motivational Monday, because, we try to uplift and give, and, it's a no judgmental zone. And again, as Andy say, ask for help,
Okay.
Andy, thank you so much.
Don't be afraid to call on me, but just give me a heads up notice.
Yes, I will. And again, send me the information so I can put it up on Facebook for anybody that is interested, and definitely I'll be purchasing your book when it becomes available.
Okay, let's pray on that. That's a promise from God, so I believe that's going to happen.
Yes, it will. Have a blessed afternoon. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. Okay, guys, there you have it. Um, we had Andy, who specialized in addiction and helping people. Again, ask for help. You guys could send me a message, or you just, change is a process, and let the process start today. If you're out there and you know you're addicted to something or some things, change is a process, and the process start today. All right? Stay blessed, stay wonderful. Big up to Nicole, Betty Ann that locked in. We have Terry Ann, we have Shawnette, we have Shaki, we have Bernadette, Vicky, Joanne, uh, Dane, Afia. Guys, thank you. Shadrach, Curtis, everybody that locked on. Thanks again. Ask for help. All right? Have a blessed week. Motivational Monday. See you guys next week, God's willing. Mwah. All right? Peace out.